to the Socially Distant Lawyer, presented by Callahan and Fusco. I'm Mitch Hayes.
And I'm Greg Vinogradsky.
And today we're going to be talking about business interruption. Now, we filmed some other episodes on business interruption, which you can check out on our YouTube channel. Please take a look, comment on it, let us know what you think, and we'll be sure to continue to talk about business interruption. But today's topic is going to focus on what it is, a recent case that came down from the Southern District of New York, interpreting it, and also we're going to be joined by our special guest, Tony Irizarry, Director of Business Operations for Callahan and Fusco, and Managing Partner of CFI, and he has some questions that are likely on all policyholders' minds, and hopefully we're going to be able to answer his questions as well as give everyone listening some pointers too. So in terms of business interruption, we're talking about a piece of your policy, of your commercial policy, that is going to put you back into the position that you were if there was not an interruption in the business. So that's what the policy is designed to do, is to look at the cost of goods sold and look at revenues, profits, and see what the effect was on the covered loss. Now, is the loss covered is the biggest question, and whether or not COVID-19 is going to be covered by a loss, and including the business interruption realm of the policy. Now, Greg, I know that we were talking before, and you had looked up a Southern District of New York case that came down really recently, hot off the press type style. What was that about?
Yeah, this case is so fresh that there was no written decision yet, so all we have is the record to go off of. But the judge in that case seemed to indicate that they were siding with the insurance carrier in finding that the COVID-19 closures is not the physical loss or damage necessary to trigger coverage, which is one of the arguments in our other videos that we said that the insurance carriers will be making in all of these types of cases. We'll see what happens with it, but essentially it was a preliminary injunction that was filed trying to receive payment until something could be figured out later on in the courts because the business was struggling. So we'll see with the written decision. We'll see how the case moves forward, if in fact it does, and we'll see how other courts treat this these types of cases.
Yeah. So now that we've learned about the cases, which we'll be sure to keep you abreast of as the situation develops and the written decision comes down, let's hear from Tony, see what him and I'm sure a lot of other policyholders have to say and what questions they have.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey Tony, how's it going?
Tony?
It's going, quarantining. It's great. I wanted to touch base with you guys. I have a couple questions about this business interruption stuff. I know that you've done a couple of segments on it, but I've had questions from my friends, and I also have some questions that I need some clarification on about policy and what's going to happen with COVID-19. So would you mind answering a few?
Sure. We appreciate you watching and can't wait to hear what you got for us.
Yeah, I figured this would be the easiest way. So I have a policy. Everyone's experiencing the same thing with COVID-19. We've gone through other scenarios where we've had business interruption insurance kick in. What about this time? Is this going to be something that's covered?
So you guys take a look at the policy. Physical loss is the big question of the day. Did physical loss contribute to the reason why you had to shut the doors and the reason why you're sustaining a loss, or was it for some other reason? Such as the civil orders that were signed and the executive orders that were signed. We talked about that in one of our latest episodes, but that's what you want to look for. The physical evidence, was there physical evidence and direct physical loss to the property that caused you to close?
Yeah, and I think this is different than in the past where it might have been something like a hurricane that shut down the doors. There really hasn't been something like this that has caused a global shutdown. And that's why this would be, a different kind of situation than in the past where you might have put a policy or claim through and you would have received coverage.
Got it. Well, as you guys can imagine, we're all in this together and it's uncertainty, but, with different loans and making sure we're meeting payroll, and now we're going to have to go ahead and file a claim. Is this something I should even pursue, or is it going to be another waste of time?
Yeah, I think it's good to pursue. I think you should pursue it. It's a frustrating experience. It's tough times right now, but the policy is there for a reason, and you should abide by the terms of the policy even if the ultimate decision might not be one that you like, but there's a notification provision in the policy, you want to make sure that you're complying with it, and looking to see what the specific notification provision is. That way you can preserve all of your rights as a policyholder.
Yeah, and just because you're hearing certain policies denying or certain carriers denying coverage, your facts and your particular policy may be different than those, and you may have coverage. So just because somebody's saying, oh, you're going to get denied, doesn't mean you shouldn't yourself file. As Mitch said, there is a notice requirement, so you want to at least file that claim to see if your coverage has been triggered.
All right, so some of the key terms that I'm supposed to be looking for in my policy should be physical damage, and should I be looking for a virus endorsement? What's the deal with that?
Yeah, after SARS and MERS, a lot of carriers started to put in virus exclusions in their policy, essentially saying that even if some of this language does trigger coverage, if the reason for that closure and that business loss was because of a virus, if you have that exclusion in your policy, they would deny coverage for that reason. So you started to see more in the past few years that exclusion being thrown into more policies, which is why it's important to take a look to see if your particular carrier included that exclusion in your policy when you purchased it.
Gotcha. All right, sounds pretty complicated, but I may have some more questions for you down the road, but I'll keep you in the loop on those. But keep up the good work on this site, and nice backgrounds, guys.
Thanks,
Ken. We appreciate it.
I love Windows. Yeah.
All right, for everyone else checking us out, let us know if you have any comments or questions, and we'll be happy to answer them in any future episodes. And we'll see you next time.